Hugo Falter is Director of EOFS, that's European Open File Systems. He's the COO of ParTec. He's a great guy and a good friend. Let's hear it for Hugo Falter. He's come a long way.
Good morning, and thank you for giving me the chance to give my talk today. As you know, we originally planned to have the talk on Tuesday already, but unfortunately I couldn't fly in for this time. So I'm very glad and happy that you give me the opportunity, and thank you, Stephen, to move that talk to early morning today. I'm representing the EOFS, the European Open File System Cooperative. That is the brother or sister company, if you might say so, to OpenSFS. It was founded alongside the same time period, and actually bringing together the interests and activities of those being involved in the development of Lustre in Europe, as well as being involved as customer or scientific sites. So we join and move that activities together and hope to contribute to a future strong Lustre community. I would like to share with you some activities we did and we are in, and some participation in projects, either politically driven or activities around one of our subgroups called EIOW, which is ever closer working together with the Lustre community, and the national and EU-founded and funded projects. At this point, let me just interfere a little bit with one aspect I'd like to discuss with the colleagues within our community. When they come up and say there is OpenSFS and there is a strong contribution on a financial aspect, the level of contribution is up to 500K per year, so this is a strong organization. They can set up RFPs and really support the community. And my answer is that's exactly what they should do, and we honor that very much. But the members of OpenSFS, at least some of them, are also members in EOFS. And since we are so close connected to OpenSFS, it would be impossible to charge them for their membership a similar amount of money a second time, right? So we had to set up a scheme which allows the participant in OpenSFS to join EOFS without opening their money pocket a second time. So our idea is, we have financial sources on the national and European level in Europe, and we bring the participants together related to that project and getting the funds out of it. At the end of the day, our goal is that this amount of money flying in and flowing into the Lustre development should not be less as our friends in OpenSFS and their members contribute. So that's the spirit. Actually, we would like to add that amount of money and make it a double amount to that amount OpenSFS is already bringing in to our Lustre environment. What we did in 2012 is to be said in a short way. We had workshops in Europe. We contributed to the LUG, which is a joint approach with OpenSFS, as you know. We shared one booth and activities at ISC in Hamburg. We sent our people to the WAM Cloud Lustre training in Barcelona and brought those outside Germany also on their way to Barcelona and to other WAM Cloud activities around getting hands-on to the Lustre development. Then we started actually a second time in a big event, LAD 2012, which is primarily set up by our French friends from CEA. We have Aurélien, our colleague here in the audience, and they do a fabulous job there. I will come back in my next slides. There will be another event this year already set up, and we would like to give you the information for that. Also a joint event for OpenSFS and EOFS, and of course finally we contributed to the SC 2012 in Salt Lake City, joint booth activities, interviews, talking to the people and bringing the companies involved in Lustre development together. Now we are in the middle of, almost at the end of LUG2013, a big event, and even more people than last year, as I heard, so that's again a great contribution from your side to keep Lustre alive. We will see each other again at ISC 2013 in Leipzig for the first time the host of ISC. We will then go to LAD13 in Paris. It's a 2-day session, added by a 3rd day on personal invitation, the Lustre Developer Summit in Paris. The invitation will come from my colleague, Jacques-Charles Foucrier, my colleague as being the director of EOFS. And then finally, we meet all together at SC in Denver. The LAD 2012 was with over 90 attendees. Then we had the second Lustre Developers Summit there, 26 attendees, 10 companies. It was high-level technical discussions. At the ISC, we had a successful breakfast panel, which we will continue this year, the same breakfast panel for our OpenSFS and EOFS activities. Then we had the booth with a lot of visitors showing up, and we had the BOF with many attendees. It was a crowded room at ISC 2012. As I said, this year in a couple of weeks we will have another breakfast panel, and this time the setup, as we discussed it in a joint EOFS and OpenSFS board meeting a couple of days ago in Munich, we would like to see representatives from the user side of Lustre on one hand side, and on the other side having those who contribute as vendors to the Lustre development, and having people then with questions really learn how they see the future, what they would like to offer, how open they listen to the community and the customers. So we are really looking forward for that. The panelists could be DDN, Xyratex, Intel, others. It's still open. Then we have a booth. You will see in the next slide. We have the Lustre BOF on June 18th from 3 to 5 p.m. And what we also agreed on, because that's a quite expensive thing to do, we would like to have our budget a little bit below this one which we experienced in 2012. If you might be able to see that on the website, you can go in. You see our booth, it's quite nice located, and our representatives from both communities, OpenSFS and EOFS, are already involved and engaged in the preparation of that activity. Breakfast meeting, having the booth is not an easy thing to do, as you know, but it gives us the platform we need to be seen in the HPC community, as well as we having the chance to meet those contributing on a developer as well as on a user side. Then, Aurélien, we go to Paris. We go to your hometown. We actually do it on September 16 and 17 at the Hotel Lutetia. Your French is better than mine. Is Lutetia? Lutetia, thank you. And we meet there and have the 3rd day, as you know, by personal invitation, the core team of Lustre developers. That will be a beautiful location. So those of you being interested in beautiful cities and Lustre, please come. Talks for LAD 13 still welcome. Go on the website, let us know who would like to share ideas with us. And we are again happy to have important sponsors on our side like Böhl and CEA and Intel and Xyratex who make that happen. This is the 3rd day, as I said, on September 18th, and Jacques-Charles will come up to you for the invitation. Now, I said, how do we contribute to the Lustre community on a financial base? We have several platforms set up in Europe the last, 24 months, which we use as EOFS to have the European Commission, as well as on a national level, the governments, having an open mind for our needs in the HPC community. One is the so-called ETP for HPC, which we started in October 2011 in Barcelona. A lot of work and time involved, but it was necessary because this is a so-called European technology platform. The ETP stands for it, and HPC should be on the horizon and should be in the heart and mind of the governments and the EU Commission who are involved in that. That's very important for us. So it should, for the research and technological objectives, be the platform where vendor-driven customers and vendors and scientific sites join together and work together to show to the public what the needs for HPC in the future are. How is it organized? We set up the organization as a Dutch association. It's open for all organizations from all over the world who do R&D in HPC on European surface. So, for instance, we have companies like Intel and others coming from the United States, and they're more than welcome because they have sites in Europe with R&D in HPC, and of course they have the full level of membership. The research centers are represented by 5 members and representatives, the European SMEs 3, the European controlled corporations 5, and the international companies with the R&D in Europe I mentioned with 2. And the steering board is a chairman right now. It is Jean-François Lavignon from Bull. Then we have 2 vice chairmen for the coordination with PRAISE, the European infrastructure for HPC and the HPC development. We have a secretary administrator, which is me, and we have a treasurer, which is Gianpietro Tecchioli from Eurotech. The funny thing is, how do we share our work in the office? We have 4 virtual offices. So Barcelona Supercomputing Center, CEA, Cinica, and Eurotech, and ParTec share that. So we have Spain, we have France, we have Italy and Germany hosting that activities. And this is something I would like to introduce to the next board meeting of OpenSFS and EOFS. I would like to see both companies sharing in as associated members. That's a very low financial burden, by the way, but you should have the forum so that you share your ideas when it comes to the setup of the strategic research agenda, which is one of their tasks I'm talking in a minute. That is the list of founders. The new members, so you see it's a quite active and moving organization. And just to tell you why it's important to participate. It's the ecosystem for HPC, the technology providers, we have the ISVs, we have the users, we have research centers, and they all come up and discuss what are the goals for HPC, how can we contribute on all our levels, and how can we convince governments and the European Commission to contribute. You can be either a full member as an organization or as a person, or you can be an associated member. What would be the way to choose for OpenSFS and EOFS? Now, what did we do? We set up a strategic research agenda. We had contributors from very different fields from all over the world writing a book. This book will be distributed to you during ISC on our EOFS booth as well. And you can see that I/O plays a significant role in that. Without highly scalable I/O, no exascale, no development towards that future which is needed for the application like Human Brain Project and other things which we need and which we see as very crucial. And if you read that strategic research agenda, you will, I think, be very happy because you will find a lot of the arguments you discuss here at the LAG and LUGs I was with. You will find it in a printed form, and we met a couple of months ago with the Vice President of the EU Commission, Madame Neelie Kroes, in Brussels, and we promised her to hand over that strategic research agenda with the highlight of I/O within the next couple of weeks and make it public by the time we have ISC. Horizon 2020 is the name for the financial pocket of the EU Commission when it comes to research and development, and we would like to be a good part of that Horizon 2020 financial project. The amount of money should be approximately up to 1 billion euros, where we in the entire HPC sector could see that support coming from the EU over a time limit from 8 to 10 years. The main topics is system and component architecture, system software, programming environment, HPC usage models, energy, of course, extreme parallelism, resiliency, which is now in many projects, I/O, as I said, storage, big data, big things supporting new workloads, new HPC delivery. Look at the strategic research agenda. I think that's very important, and join with us to make that happen in the projects we will set up through the process of ETP with the EU Commission. Now, the PRAISE, the European Infrastructure for HPC, is already set up, as you know. They coordinate the time scientists have from around the world and access to the European systems. They are set up in different levels, like Tier 0 we have in France, we have in Spain, we have in Italy, we have in Germany, and then the different levels 1, 2, 3 up related to the size of the system. It should lead us to a strong infrastructure in Europe, and the ETP for HPC now defines and keeps updated the strategic research agenda, the SRA, and bring it not only to the attention of the EU Commission, but work with the user representatives in PRAISE to get the best solutions you have in mind. Both organizations, the ETP for HPC and PRAISE, are part of the European HPC governance, and they have complementary stakeholders, as you see. And we connected each other. There will always be one representative of the ETP for HPC being in the board meetings of PRAISE and vice versa. So it should be similar to what we do in OpenSFS and EOFS. We should co-design our future and be involved in that cooperative aspect. As I said, just summarizing why it's important to be a member. First of all, that we all know what you have in mind about our future. We can share your ideas. You can influence the projects coming up through the SRA and your participation, and you are a member of that development. Now, it comes to concrete money-making aspects. But before we go into that, I would like to just highlight that when we founded ETP for HPC, we did not give up at all the other activities we have in Europe for the entire HPC community worldwide, like Prospect. This is the promotion of supercomputing partnerships for European competitiveness and technology. The European supercomputing centers lead that activity, like the Forschungszentrum Jülich, Barcelona Supercomputing Center, LRZ in Munich. And we have members from all over the world, 39 right now, users. The big names of vendors are represented, and this is more showing each other where the technology is now and where we can work together on a project base for the better solutions in the future. We meet twice a year, and the membership is very, very inexpensive, by the way. It's 500 euros per year. We would not limit membership to those who can afford it. It should be open. The more we have contributing on that technical level, the better it is. Now, this is a German association, the Prospect. We support science and research in the fields of supercomputing, as I said, and in projects we set up with the members and related partners, we would like to support that development. Now, how do all that players work together, and how can they support our OpenSFS and EOFS activities? How can they support Lustre and I/O? As I said, on the left-hand side, we have Praise, the infrastructure, who take care that we have enough big machines to fit into the needs of those using the application for better science. We have the ETP for HPC, vendor-driven, but also users and companies contributing also on a user level, the scientific world, the science world, and the setup of the SRA, as you see, which comes to the European Commission and will then be used like in projects Prospect, HPC. We have the same activities like we have Prospect in Europe. We have ParTec in Europe, which is located in Paris. So it is bringing participants together and share ideas and set up projects. Now, short word, because I see my 5 minutes here, remaining talk time. We have a subgroup called Exascale I/O. You know that for us it was important to have that subgroup in EOFS, and I make it very clear here, it is not seen, otherwise we wouldn't do it, as a competitive approach to Lustre. Not at all. There was some misunderstanding out there in the field. We tried to overcome that. How did we do it? First of all, to talk to the people and inform them and bringing the people together. This means what we did is we invite, when the subgroup meets, when the work group meets, we invite representatives from the Lustre community. We have representatives from Intel, from Xyratex, talking, listening. So bringing them together for us is a good contribution to an ever better I/O environment and to a better future also for Lustre, because the activity is seen as supporting Lustre on top of Lustre for a better connectivity to the application. That's the idea. Concrete is a project we did still before Horizon 2020 in Europe. It's called FAST. The decision is still pending. We are in a very good position with our partners from an EOFS perspective and also with our friends and partners of OpenSFS. It's coordinated by Andre Brinkmann from the University of Mainz, and we have 7 partners. A second one is ITEA2, and the decision is also pending. We were informed that our position is also here quite good. This is activity with 12 partners, both activities primarily focusing on I/O. Another project which is on first hand not related so much to highly scalable I/O, but from the target, very, very important, because a lot of money is involved and the key players are involved. It's called DEEP. It was one of the 3 activities being supported by the EU Commission under the Framework 7. This is the one which is now almost at the end. It's Dynamical Exascale Entry Platform. We are looking for a specific setup. We call it cluster and booster. We divide the applications and make a cluster architecture able to develop into a exascale system. That's what we have in mind and hope. It's funded with 8 million from the EU Commission and has 16 partners. And we will develop a novel exascale enabling supercomputing architecture with a matching software stack and a set of optimized grand challenge simulation applications. And now we are waiting for that should come within the next couple of days, not later than the end of April. The team, 14 partners out of that team, joined together for deeper, and this is pure I/O. And Lustre plays a significant role in it, called deeper, deep extended research, coordinated by the research center in Jülich, 14 partners, and it's still under consideration, so I can't talk too much. But let me put it in these words, I'm very optimistic that the EU Commission and the referees will choose, as far as we heard, 2 out of the applicants, and it would be nice if this deeper project, so much focused on I/O, will be funded. We know it within the next 2 weeks and can share all that with you during ISC. So, questions coming up, but before we go to questions, I just want to summarize. What I wanted to share with you is that together with our close partners, OpenSFS, we set up a goal to drive Lustre, to set up a platform where you all feel comfortable, you all contribute, and we have Lustre without the crisis we saw a couple of years ago in a bright future. That's why we do it. Why do we do it? Because we think that Lustre is the answer to the freedom the users need when they go and approach the next level of HPC systems, for instance, also outside of the world of HPC in big data. And we need that highly scalable open source solution called Lustre, no doubt about it. That's why we work together. Other solutions might be not as open and might not give the developers as well as the users the chance to co-design and co-develop around Lustre. That's what we want to keep open. And we would like to contribute with our activities, EOFS, with OpenSFS, LUG, LED, booth, together with breakfast meetings, and our activities in Prospect, in TerraTech, in our ETP for HPC, to make the public aware that what we do is necessary to get the answers for the solutions out of science we need for the future, and I/O is a significant, important part as those HPC solution. That's why we do it, and we hope to contribute through that public financing, also from a financial standpoint, to the enormous, important and successful activities OpenSFS is already doing, and you contribute through your excellent development work for Lustre. Thank you very much.